Welcome to Rowdy Rooster Woodworks. Today we're making this magnificent mallet. We're going to start here in Carve Co, getting the general shape of our mallet before we start working on the tool paths. We'll work on the head here, making our rectangle, and then we'll shape it to something a little more elegant. We'll add a little contour to the top and bottom here just to give it a better shape, a little more elegant. Now we'll clip these round corners here using the fillet tool. Now, since our mallet is composed of three separate pieces here, we're going to put dowel holes in to align the three pieces, as you will see later. Now what we're doing here is creating a pocket in the side pieces of our mallet for the ledge shot, which we're going to install at the end of the process here. What we're doing here is creating our tool paths for our first side here. We're going to use a 1/4 inch end mill all the way through. In the middle we're using a clearing path. We're clearing it down to 1/2 inch in order to create a pocket in our 1 inch thick piece here. We're also going to use a profiling tool path around the edge there to profile it out the full depth with 4 bridges. As you can see in our 3D image there, we have our first side of our hammerhead done. What we're doing here is we're starting to work on the shape of our handle, which is just a long rectangle, and then we're going to attach it and put a little base on it, just a little nub for character there. Here we're just going to use our tool here to shape this nub into something just a little more appealing to work with our handle, or the body of our handle. Now we're going to finish bringing that handle up into the head, the shape of the head there, in order to make our third piece of our hammer there. The side profile was done twice in order to make the first 2 pieces. Now that we have our tool paths done, let's start prepping the material here to the desired thickness for cutting, also getting it flat for the 2 glued surfaces. All we're doing here is just doing a clearing path and clearing out the area in which we're going to make the pieces. Now I'm just measuring because I'm going to get both sides of our hammerhead out of this one piece, so I'm centering it there. And I'm going to establish my 0 location for my X and Y, which will need to be done twice on this board for the 2 separate pieces. With that being done, we'll get our 1/4 inch end mill here, get our collet in place. We'll push our end mill into the collet. You'll see there, I'm making sure I do not bottom it out. Then we can install it on our spindle there. Now we'll just 0 out our end mill to our wasteboard there. Over to the machine, hit probe. We're in the bottom right there. Then we just need to tap our plate on the end mill. Make sure we're nice and flat on our wasteboard there, and watch it take its reading. Now we'll just 0 X and Y in the position I marked earlier. Alright, off to the machine now. Here we're going to 0 our X, 0 our Y. It's me on the left doing that. And we're going to load our file. We're doing our 2 sides. We're going to do them one by one here. So I'm going to load the right side now. Then we'll start up the spindle and cut our first side out. Alright, here I am getting my dust shoe into place now. Dust collection is very, very important. We shouldn't be breathing that stuff. Now that's in place, let's go fire up the spindle. So here I am at the VFD, turning the spindle on and setting it to the desired speed that I want. I'm looking to be around 17,000. Typically between 16 and 18,000 is great for a 1/4 inch end mill. Speed is very, very much determined on how fast you're feeding your spindle and the bit that you're using. You're trying for chips, not dust, and about 17, 18,000 is perfect for the 1/4 inch end mill. We're routing out the profile for this side of the hammerhead now. Then it'll be off to doing the pocket for the inside where the lead shot will be contained. This pocket's only about 1/2 inch down, because combined with the inch or so on the body there, we'll have plenty of shot in there. You can see here we're just drilling out the 4 holes for the alignment dowels. Now we're off to our second piece here, which is very much like the first. It's just the left side, so when I was doing the tool paths, I mirror imaged them. If you just did direct copies, no matter how good you think you are, they won't line up exactly. So it's just much easier to create mirror images, then you know all the alignment holes and everything else will be perfect. So now we're setting up this piece of black walnut for the body of our hammer there. There's my center line, which we have to align with the 1/4" end mill on the CNC, then hold our piece down into place. Now I'm jogging the machine over. I'm going to get the top of the CNC end mill right on over that line. Then I'm going to jog it downward and line up the bottom. And then I'll be able to fasten my piece down and we can start working on getting our X and Y. As you can see here, I've got to move the bottom of my piece over a little bit to get my bit lined up with that center line there. But now that it is, I can fasten everything into place and we start setting up the machine. So here we are, zeroing out X and Y. We'll get the 1/4" end mill directly over the mark we left for the center point of this piece. And there's your X and Y there. I'll go over to the machine, hit 0 and 0. Can't quite see it here, but that's happening on the left there. And we'll fire up the machine and start cutting out the body of our hammer. This is just 2 profile cuts and 4 holes drilled in order to line up with our 2 side pieces. Now our piece is done in the CNC machine here. We're going to remove it. There should be an onion skin left on all 3 of these pieces. So we're going to cut all the way through and separate our pieces from their original boards. Here we're just using a flush cut bit to clean up the bottom area of our pieces there. Just going to work our way around very neatly, removing that excess material. Now I'm just going to chamfer the handle just to make it slightly more comfortable. Probably about 3/16. So we're just going to work our way around with this chamfer bit and make it easier to hold. Now it's time for assembly. So we're going to put our dowels into place here. They're pretty much what aligns everything, keeping it in place while we glue. If we tried to just glue these 3 pieces without something holding them in place, it'd be a lot harder. And since we're using a CNC machine, we might as well use everything we can to make life a little bit easier. So what I'm doing is just putting some glue there. Then I'm going to find the matching side, because like I had mentioned before, when we did our tool paths, these are mirror images. So one goes on the right, one goes on the left. Now that I have the right one, put a little glue in the holes there, and we're going to put it into place. Now that's in place, I'm just going to make sure our dowels didn't push through by sticking this bit in there and checking the depth. Everything there looked good, so we can clamp this and let the glue dry, then start into the next step. Now we'll remove our clamps, then we'll grab our lead shot there, and we're going to fill that cavity that we created with that, causing this mallet to be a dead blow hammer as well. And we're going to glue, then clamp up our third piece here with another set of alignment dowels to make sure everything stays perfectly in place while we clamp the last bit of our mallet together. Now that the glue is dried, I've sanded everything. I also drilled and put some plugs on either face of those just for decoration, kind of contrast the oak color there. So with all that done, we're going to seal it with just some wipe-on polyurethane just to protect it from moisture and give it a nice clean look. And this project is done. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.